How's it going? Welcome back to another great video. Today we are taking a look at Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree, and I'm very excited. Today I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do a live review, so a let's play review of the early access stuff, so I do hope you enjoy this. Now I usually pre-record my gameplay from events or what gets sent to me, or just based on other gameplay that I can gather, but today I am doing a let's play review. I've never done this before, I think only on a members only video, so let me know if you like this type of style. I usually like to gather my notes and be more analytical in the process, but I will try my best still, of course, to keep it, fair and objective. But I just thought I would try this out as it's a kind of a smaller indie game, and it's something I'm interested in because I do love Souls-like games, and I am a huge Souls fan. So you're first greeted with a character creator, and it does have a unique art style to it. I'll talk about that more later. Some of the classes are missing, but they will be later on the full release. So you have the classic kind of traditional knight class, a vanguard. These elite fighters within the ranks of the Inquisitors employ raw physical prowess, massive shields, and brutal two-handed weapons. Okay, so pretty cool. Then we have the kind of wizard class, the spellbinder. That's if you want high magic damage. And then you have kind of the thief, okay, which is Nightshade. A special branch of Inquisitors undergo rigorous training to become swift and lethal. So you can see here on the stats on the right, very Dark Souls inspired. You have health, stamina, adrenaline, and equipment load. And you can see how they change based on the different class that you have. And it also gives you a nice indication of the physical damage, magical damage, range, toughness, sustain, and mobility. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll find out later on. So it looks like you get a starting spell, Chaos Beam, and a starting ability with all of the classes. So I'm going to give you the positives and negatives of this Mandragora game review at the end of the video, so I can sum up all of my thoughts, and I'm going to play it solo without recording it because I'm not allowed to show everything, only the early access stuff, and then I can form my own opinions around the early content that I can have access to, and then I'll round it off at the end of the video. But I will just be going through it and sharing my experience with it. Okay, so here we are in Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree. So I've basically just started the game, and I'm going to be showing off the early access Mandragora gameplay for you, what I am allowed to show. I did get to play some more, but I can only show you the early access stuff, of course. But first things first, I just gotta say that the art style in this is very nice. It kind of reminds me of Ori and the Blind Forest. The music is very charming and relaxing so far. I'm finding that very enjoyable. So I've gone for the kind of knight class. So I've got a light attack here and then a heavy attack when I basically get enough of a kind of hit streak going. And then you can switch between, your usable items, like your potions and stuff like that. It's all very Dark Soulsy. That's how you manage your stamina. You can do a parry as well. And when you block, you can't regain stamina, so you need to let go of that to build up your stamina again. So it is quite tactical as well. Grab yourself a nice cup of tea, a nice cup of joe. And I do hope you do consider subscribing if you are new. Become a wise one today if you enjoy gaming analysis, philosophical videos, and early access reviews. Join the Wise One community today. This movement will not be stopped, I can guarantee that. And save yourself some money by using my link on Instant Gaming if you want to play any new games coming out. Using my link on Instant Gaming is a no-brainer because you will just save yourself tons of money on any game releasing, newer titles as well as the latest games coming out. So over here is your bonfire, or it's called a witch stone in Mandragora, and that serves as your bonfire where you level up and respawn enemies and stuff like that. So you have a basic block like that. Let's see if I can do a parry. There you go. And then that staggers the enemy, so you can get a more fast attack in and stuff like that. It's very basic so far, but like I said, this is the early gameplay, so I hope it evolves a lot more. And I'll be jumping back and forth between, the new gameplay now and some later gameplay. But so far, it's got a really nice kind of zen atmosphere to it. Obviously, it's going to get a lot more difficult. I should actually focus. So like I said, once you lock in your shield, it actually locks you in, so you need to disengage. So the controls do get, you know, you do have to really learn the ropes. And they are a little bit clunky and stiff to begin with, but when you get used to them, they're not that bad. And yeah, it really does remind me of like Ori and the Blind Forest, that kind of, you know, kind of vibe to it. And then of course you have a dodge roll, because this is a Souls-like. And I haven't seen many 2D side-scroller Souls-like, apart from, you know, Hollow Knight and stuff like that. This is also going for that Metroidvania gameplay style as well, where you will be going back to earlier areas and then unlocking new places. There's currencies to collect, resource gathering, which I'm not a big fan of, but I have already seen a bunch of that. So I do hope you enjoy this Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree review and this Mandragora game review. And yeah, I'm going to try and do my best of multitasking here, which is not my strongest suit, but I just thought it would be kind of cool to do a Let's Play review of this, as it is kind of an indie title, and I don't think it's going to get much love. It's kind of got a charming Fable aesthetic to it as well, like a kind of storybook, you know, fantasy, traditional fantasy vibe to it, mixed in with Ori and the Blind Forest, that kind of aesthetic. One thing I really like is in the towns, you actually hear conversations going, you know, back and forth between people. They will comment about you. You're not just like this invisible person. They actually interact with you. You actually have dialogue choices as well. And I don't think they really matter, but it's nice to add, you know, that immersion. And there is a lot of verticality to this as well, which we'll see later. So you can see all of your items here, your active skill set, and then you can, you know, map them on the controller or on PC. So you've got your combat skills, you've got relic skills that you unlock later, assassination skills, chaos skills, and fire skills. It's very much like Ori and the Blind Forest. You have a quest tracker, so you will be stumbling upon, you know, side quests and stuff like that. And shit, oh dear, we've got our first boss. Alright, let's see if we can do this. I am an expert Dark Souls player, by the way. Oh god. Second phase. Shit, come on. As you can clearly see, I am an expert. God damn it, okay, I can't block this attack. Come on, come on, come on. Shit. I need a sip from my flask. You bellend. That didn't happen. Because it's weird, you know, blocking when I'm used to rolling around in Dark Souls, you know, and it's obviously completely 3D, so you have much more, you know, experimentation, and you can really think much more tactically. Here you can only go left or right, so the dodging aspect of it feels a little bit weird. I think maybe like a teleportation system would be nicer, or like a blink feature like in Dishonored, but I'm sure I just need to get used to it, so let's try again, shall we? You're going down, little fluffy bitch. Okay, come on. What are you doing, silly? Ow. Okay, I can recover. There. And then run. Easy. Alright, I got it. So it is very much that Soulsy, you know, you've got to figure out the enemy attack pattern. All about timing. Which I'm not doing that good at so far. Fuck. Right, come on. And you've got to watch your stamina as well. Right, come on, Savior. Oh, you're a big boy. I'm gonna make you into a nice pelt. Shit, that attack is quite difficult. It does give you some indication when your stamina is running out, which I like. Like a little flash on screen. Okay, second phase. God damn it. Come on, idiot. No. This is why I don't do Let's Plays, guys. I can't multitask whatsoever. I am not going to be known as a game journalist. Come on, get it, get it, get it. Yeah! Oh, yeah. That's right, boys. I am not a game journalist, okay? I am a professional gamer, and I did not die on the first attempt, I'll have you know. So far, what I'm really enjoying about it is it's got that satisfaction. It does have that DNA of the Souls essence. It does have that Souls DNA essence where you get a lot of satisfaction from the bosses. That was my first boss, and it was very well, you know, choreographed. Quite simplistic, but it is a first boss. But the feel of it felt very good. The hit detection, all of that felt right. Even a little bit simplistic at times, but you know, I am getting used to it now. And seeing like when I run out of stamina and stuff like that. And just the music and the ambience so far is what's really compelling. Basically, the story is you're a vanguard and you're trained to hunt down witches, but basically some of the power was manifested onto you, and now you have some extra magical powers, and you're going out there to hunt for witches and stuff like that. So far quite interesting, quite basic, but so far in this Mandragora review, I would say it's a good first impressions. So here's a good example of the storytelling.
A place to set up camp. Since ancient times, it's said no traveler came to harm in the ruins nearby. Most merchants know of it. I'll take you there.
So that's a good example of the storytelling. It's quite unique because it's got like the character's face on the left, and I really do like the art style. It's very, you know, hand drawn, and you know, it's got this painting aesthetic to it, which I really like.
The sun would hold out until we reached our destination. Ulfar was as strong as one of his oxen, but the man seemed like he wouldn't even split a log without apologizing to it first.
So I really do like how the storytelling is done. I don't really like having this protagonist that's talking to himself. That's, you know, a big trope in any game now. And this is definitely a AA, more indie title. So I'm not really a big fan of that. But I do like how the story is being told. And when you talk to characters, basically how you interact with them. You know, their face will appear on the left side. And it's a super beautiful art style. The artists on this game did a fantastic job. So this is the first look at the skill tree, and what I really like about it is, first of all, there's a lot here, and it's not locking you in. You know, you can go down and experiment with different branching paths, so it really does allow for player agency, and it reminds me of those more kind of ARPGs. And yes, this is a Soulslike, but it does have that kind of ARPG feel to it, where there's a lot of customization and player agency within the game, not just with this not only with this skill tree with the class that you're playing as, but also you can multi-spec. For example, later on you can unlock other skill trees like the Assassination Mastery, which unlocks at level 25, and you can, you know, mix and match between these different skill branches, which I really like. And, you know, these will affect, you know, all these different resistances like fire, bleed, poison, frost, void, physical. So there's a lot of RPG stat-based mechanics in this game, and I'm a huge fan of that kind of thing, where you can see your armor cost, your protection, your offense, your defense. It's not doing the traditional Dark Souls stat-based options. You automatically level up, as you can see here, but then you can spec into different classes at a certain level. And then this changes your attributes as you level up depending on the route that you go down. And that's quite unique, and that's what I want to see more, you know, creativity when it comes to, you know, player progression. And I think they're doing a good job with that so far. So far in this Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree review, I would say what really has me sold on this is the platforming in this is pretty tight, and it's going to get a lot more complicated later on. And I can definitely vouch for that. Also, with these like smaller enemies, you really do have to learn to kind of just dodge their attacks instead of blocking. That's usually the best strategy. And there are different variations of enemy types, like some of them will buff each other, some of them kind of work together in packs and groups and stuff like that. They are very obviously, you know, They are very obviously telegraphed, but that is the whole point, and you kind of need that in a 2D Souls-like. But the platforming has surprised me later on. Also, there are these little shrine and temples that you can come across, and they will give you talent points, so always keep an eye out for them. And there's always a lot of verticality. You know, there's dungeons, there's stuff up that you might miss, and you can check up and down, which I quite like. Some enemies, it's more difficult to dodge their attacks. Like you can see, I got a little bit of bleed damage on him that time. So when I go behind him, some enemies are kind of slow on the uptake to kind of switch sides, but some enemies are much quicker. So blocking then might be viable, or using magic and stuff like that if you are playing as a mage. But it's nice that you can't always just block every attack, and actually it's better to dodge. But luckily this isn't a parry-based Souls-like game, and that's quite refreshing because a lot of Souls-like these days are very parry-based, and you know, they focus on aggressive play. This is much more of a defensive play style, depending on the class that you choose, which I really like. A few negatives I would say is, even though I love the art style, the music especially really sets the tone, and I think they did a fantastic job on the music. As someone who has made soundtracks for games myself, I really do appreciate a good soundtrack, and it really does make a difference, and I think they did a fantastic job with that. Also, I really do like the fact that, you know, that there is platforming in this. It does change up the gameplay quite a lot, and like I said, a lot of verticality to the levels themselves. And I like that if you actually run out of your stamina, you can still do attacks, but it's just slower. See? Which is a really cool detail. But the actual attacks themselves, they don't feel weighty enough, they don't have enough impact. It feels like you're just slicing through thin air instead of hitting an enemy. So they really need to work on that, maybe with an update, have, you know, better hit detection. But for bosses, it works out great. So those are some critiques I would say so far. Also, you can jump around with fast travel in this game, you know, so don't expect like a linear experience, even though the levels themselves are quite linear. The Metroidvania elements requires you to go back and, you know, look for opportunities for exploration, even though it's not very, you know, expansive. There is exploration in this game, of course. Another negative I would have to give it is the fact that basically I really don't like the resource grinding aspect to this game. So if you want to level up your armor, for example, and your weapons, later on you will have to do a lot of that, as I found out. Basically, you need to grind for certain materials. You can buy them at the blacksmith or at certain shops, but then you need to collect a lot of gold. So it does have that grindy element to it, where you need to, you know, get the resources themselves to actually upgrade your gear. You can't just outright buy gear, not if you want the good stuff. And I really am not a big fan of that kind of gameplay element, especially in a Souls-like like this, and especially in a 2D Metroidvania. Here's a good example of a big juicy boy. And for them, obviously, the best move is to, you know, dodge their attacks, not try and block them. Shit. You can have weapon sets later on in the game, so it changes up the gameplay a little bit, because then you can easily swap to different weapon types, and obviously with the skill tree, you get these different abilities. You know, like I have uppercut at the moment, and then you can stack them, so you have a wide range of different choices, almost similar to Hogwarts Legacy in a weird way. But when you're actually attacking these enemies, whatever they are, the way that they attack, it's not very, you know, interesting, because it's so predictable and they can only do a certain amount of moves that it becomes kind of rinse and repeat and just waiting for them to die, instead of, you know, kind of thinking tactically about the environment and your situation. And I guess that's because, you know, a 2D Souls-like doesn't always work well, not compared to, you know, a full-on 3D Souls-like. And I think that's just the limitations of having it in 2D instead of a 3D world space. So there's traps like that as well. So as you can see, when you get the same enemy types over and over again, and there isn't much variation, it does pick up, trust me, so you just have to wait for that. But actually taking out these enemies isn't the most exciting because they don't have many attack patterns to them. There's not much variation in the world design itself compared to like a 3D Souls-like. So it becomes very repetitive, just, you know, doing the same attacks over and over again. Even when you can vary it up later with attacks, the enemies themselves, they don't change, and it's really only the bosses that really held my attention, I guess I could say.
Smash your head. I'll crack your stupid skull.
Wow. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with this, but it is quite just simplistic and rather, you know, rinse and repeat with a lot of the enemies, which is fine later on when you get new stuff. But so to sum up this Mandragora review, this Mandragora game review, I honestly think that this is a good game if you are a die-hard fan of Souls-like, and especially Metroidvanias. If you like a game with lots of platforming, backtracking, side questing, similar to Ori and the Blind Forest, but very kind of, but a simplistic Souls-like gameplay design to it, where, you know, there is variation with the weapons that you use, the skill tree, like I said, is crazy, the bosses are great in this, the music and the ambience is great, but the actual enemy AI and attack patterns are very rinse and repeat. And it at times just feels like, you know, you're playing exactly the same thing over and over again. Doesn't matter if the locations change, but it's very repetitive, this game. And I know you can say that for all Souls-likes, but you know, usually they do something very different because of the universe, the lore, the interaction with the story and all that kind of stuff, and figuring things out for yourself. This is very much a narrative that is told to you. Your character talks a lot as well to himself, when you should just be figuring stuff out yourself. So it's got a lot of positives and negatives, and I would say that this is a mixed bag overall. It started out strong, but the more I played of it, and then I went back to show you this early gameplay, I'm not feeling 100% sure about it. I think it's a good game, but it definitely needs more work, I would say. So that is my Mandragora review. Let me know what you think of this game down below, and if you're going to try it out. And I'll be seeing you in the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.